Hello, Papa Tom here. Hope you're having a great day, evening, night, whatever it is. So, I had to run into town, do some banking, and a couple other errands. And while I was here, I decided I'd stop in a little restaurant here, my favorite little waitress, where I used to, back when I used to work all the time. Sorry, I'm shifting here. When I used to work, I used to eat at this little restaurant about once a week. And I got there and there was nobody in there but myself and her. And we got to talking, and she was saying how she's had to go to because her kids are in school and she's not seeing them much. She's working just Mondays to Fridays. She was working Saturdays and Sundays, and we got to talking about the importance of family and spending time with family. And she made a statement about how hard it was to get employees anymore, that the waitresses or waiters or whatever, they don't really seem to understand how the system worked. And I asked her to explain a little bit, and she says, tips, for example, whenever somebody orders anything, a receipt is made, automatically, out of her tips, whether she has any or not, she has to pay 2% to the cook and 2% to the dishwasher, no matter what. So that's 4% of whatever is paid or ordered goes to the cook and dishwasher, whether or not she gets a tip or not. In addition, if the debit charges go over a certain amount, the waitresses, waiters, whatever, have to pay to the owner the extra fees above whatever their limit is. I remember a few years ago, a friend of mine, she was a waitress, and she said she had to pay 6% to the cook or to the kitchen staff, no matter what. So, in addition to that, many states and or provinces, because of the tips, they're allowed to start these people out at below minimum wage. And I've seen where one state was as low as like $2.75 or something like that, $3 an hour plus tips. Here in Alberta, where I'm at, they have to hire at minimum wage, which is $15 an hour plus tips. But even at that, if people don't tip, they actually could lose 4% of that. So when people are complaining about now it's instead of 10%, which used to be the standard, back then, for years, my mom worked in the restaurant. The waitresses and waiters got the 10%, and they could share it with the cooks. It was an option. It wasn't mandatory. But the cook was also paid more money per hour than the waiter or waitress was. And my mom was a cook, so I kind of know what that was at. And even at that, her wages were not very high. And then on the radio this morning, they were talking about people. There's a gang that seems to think it's funny to dine and dash. Some businesses require that come out of the waiter or waitresses tips. They have to pay for it. Now, it's my understanding that anyway, here in Canada, it's illegal to take it out of their wages, but they can take it out of their tips. So if somebody has a $400 dine and dash, that could be any or all their tips for the day or even days. So whenever you are in a restaurant, and they give you good food service, even if it's not the best, still give at least 8 or 10%, just so that that waiter or waitress is at least making their hourly wage. There's times like when I was in there, I was the only one in there for a good half hour. So, and then when the busy time comes, they work their rear off. They work hard. And they have to put up with belligerent people, messy people. They have to clean up the messes. They have to do a lot of food prep in advance before even serving the food. So just remember that. Remember, they're there to serve us, but that doesn't mean that we have the right to be belligerent or obnoxious or expect more. When in actuality, they really aren't making a lot. So, being raised by my mom, who worked in the restaurant industry, I've always tipped well. Even some of the worst service I've ever got, I've always made sure I tipped a little bit because I knew the challenges that they may have. Most generally now, I'm tipping in the 15 percentile. If it's really good, it'll go higher. But just remember that. Anyway, that's just my thoughts for the day. You all take care. Remember, God loves you. I love you. Remember to subscribe, like, and follow. Have a great day.